Hello everybody and welcome to Verses and Paragraphs. This is Verses and Paragraphs coming to you live all the way from Lagos, Nigeria. My name is Erumena Amata, welcoming you to yet another enlightening episode of Verses and Paragraphs. Now, yesterday we were talking about anaphora. An anaphora is when you repeat a word or phrase at the beginning of every sentence. Thank you, Dr. Raphael James. My brother from another mother is watching. Thank you so much. Yesterday we were talking about anaphora. An anaphora is the repetition of a word or a phrase at the beginning of each sentence. And while the broadcast was on, somebody had asked a question that what is the difference between, is an anaphora the same thing as alliteration? And I thought that today I better do a little bit of clarification between anaphora and alliteration. Now, anaphora and alliteration, they are similar in the fact that they have repetition in common, but that is where the similarity ends. Now, an anaphora is the repetition of a certain word or phrase at the beginning of every sentence or successive line of writing, usually writing or speech, and it's also used in poetry. And usually when you have an anaphora, it's because somebody wants to emphasize a point or an idea that a person is making. And we had some examples yesterday, and I'm going to give you some more examples today. For instance, we say the wrong person was selected for the wrong job at the wrong time for the wrong purpose. So what has been repeated here, this is an anaphora, and what has been repeated is wrong. We have the wrong person was selected for the wrong job at the wrong time for the wrong purpose. Anaphoras are always used in speeches or in writings and also in poetry. Then another one, I have another example too. Who is to blame? Who is to look to? Who is to turn to in a tough situation like this? And the anaphora that we're using is who is to. Yes, Dr. James, we have used the word wrong. I'd like to welcome the old school master, Femi Ajibode. He's watching from Lagos here. Good to have you on the show. Today we're talking about the difference between anaphora and alliteration. Yesterday we talked about anaphora. An anaphora is the repetition of a word or a clause at the beginning of the lines of a sentence or a speech. And someone had asked whether it was the same thing as alliteration. So I'm trying to make a differentiation between anaphora and alliteration. So I'm giving some examples, and one of the examples I've given is the wrong person was selected for the wrong job at the wrong time for the wrong purpose. So there, wrong is an anaphora. After a long term of studies, the students wanted to go home, they wanted to play, and they wanted to meet their parents and friends. So that is a sentence in which we have used anaphora, and the anaphora is wanted to. After a long term of studies, the students wanted to go home, they wanted to play, and they wanted to meet their parents. So that's talking about anaphora. Now, I want to talk a little bit about alliteration. Alliteration, on the other hand, is a figure of speech in which a series of words, usually two or more neighboring words, have the same first consonant sound. However, sometimes repetition of sounds occur inside the word. So whereas anaphora is a repetition of words or phrases, alliteration is a repetition of a consonant sound. So I'll give you an example. Maybe you can also give me an example too. She sells seashells down by the seashore. That is alliteration. So the consonant sound is the S sound. She sells seashells down by the seashore. Then there's another one. Mike's microphone made much noise. So the consonant there is the M. Then we have Nick's nephew needs new notebooks now. So the consonant sound there is the N. Egodi Black Ebony is watching from Lagos. Egodi, hi to you. Say hi back to me, Ego. Then Sarah's 7 sisters slept soundly in the sand. So it is a S there. Today I'm talking about the difference between anaphora and alliteration. Anaphora is the repetition of words or phrases at the beginning of a sentence or the lines of a speech, while alliteration is the repetition of a consonant sound of words that are usually neighboring. And I've been giving examples of alliteration. There's this very popular one, Peter Pepper picked a. Dr. James, can you remind me? Peter Pepper picked a something something of something pepper. That's alliteration. I have here, Sarah's 7 sisters slept soundly in the sand. The alliterative consonant sound there is the S. Then you have brand names which also have alliterative value. Coca-Cola, Dunkin' Donuts, Bed, Bath and Beyond. Those are alliterative brand names. Then you have famous people too who have got alliterative names. You have Mickey Mouse, Ronald Reagan, Jesse Jackson, Donald Duck. We even have Donald Duke in Nigeria, and then we also have Murtala Mohammed, where you have names that have they're in the neighboring words, and then they have a repetitive consonant sound. Then there are also phrases which also are alliterative. You have busy as a bee, dead as a doornail, home sweet home, good as gold, good to go, make a mountain out of a molehill, out of order. We have moments with more. Hi Judith. Judith is watching. I think you're watching from United States. Tell me where you're watching from, Robo. You put Judith when I call you Robo, because Robo now I know you as. Good morning. Okay, Judith is watching from Canada. Thank you so much, Judith. Today we're talking about the difference between anaphora and alliteration. Yesterday, while we're talking about anaphora, Benji Ovio wanted to know whether it was the same thing as alliteration. So I'm making a difference between anaphora and alliteration. The one thing they have in common is repetition. While anaphora is repetition of word or phrase at the beginning of a sentence, alliteration is the beginning of consonant sounds. And I've been giving some examples. So I can still go back and I give you some of the alliterative examples, and you could also give me some. Alliteration. She sells seashells down by the seashore. Okay, you are in Hamlin, Ontario. Okay, Judith Orogun is watching from Hamlin, Ontario in Canada. Bukeshonibare, I know you are watching from Abuja. Thank you for coming on the show. We're talking alliteration and anaphora. Then alliterative sentences. Mike's microphone. Okay, yeah. Mike's microphone made much music. Nick's nephew needs new notebooks now. So the repetitive consonant sound there is the N side. Obando Ogbole, hey, up coach. Coach Obi is watching from Abuja. And then I have Sarah's 7 sisters slept soundly in the sand. Then there are brand names which are alliterative. You have Coca-Cola, Dunkin' Donuts, Bed, Bath and Beyond. There are famous people who have alliterative names too. We have Mickey Mouse, Ronald Reagan, Jesse Jackson, Donald Duke, Murtala Mohammed. Their names are alliterative. And then there are also some phrases which are alliterative too. You have busy as a bee, dead as a doornail. Thank you, Coach B. Coach Obi says great. Home sweet home is an alliterative phrase. Good as gold, good to go. Make a mountain out of a molehill. Out of order, moments with more. We're talking about the difference between an anaphora, which is the repetition. We talked about anaphora yesterday. Hamilton. Yeah, okay, sorry. Judith says it's Hamilton. Talking about the difference between anaphora, we talked about anaphora yesterday, which is the repetition of words or phrases at the beginning of consecutive lines of speech or poetry or writing. And someone asked a question yesterday if it was the same thing as alliteration. So I'm making a difference between anaphora and alliteration. Anaphora is repetition of words or phrases, while alliteration is repetition of consonant sounds. And I've just been reading you some of those alliterative sounds or phrases or words. And then I'd like to read you some of the anaphora, some of the sentences which have anaphoras in them. So we have the wrong person was selected for the wrong job at the wrong time for the wrong purpose. So the alliterative word there is wrong. Sorry, not alliterative. The repetitive word there is wrong. This one is anaphora. Then we have another one. After a long term of studies, the students wanted to go home, they wanted to play, and they wanted to meet their parents and friends. So why am I saying alliterative? Anaphora that has been used there is wanted to. And yesterday I also read some. Every day, every night, in every way, I am getting better and better. So the anaphora there is every. And then my life is my purpose, my life is my goal, my life is my inspiration. So the anaphora there is my life. This morning I saw, I don't know whether it was a poem, I think it's a prayer that Lorraine Panam had put up on her page. And for every prayer she made, every sentence she wrote, it was about 5 or 6 sentences. Each one she says, I pray for Nigeria that this, I pray for that. So what she has done, she has used anaphora in writing her poem or prayer or whatever it was. Now, as usual, we always have our word of the day. And our word for, can we have anaphoric words or phrases? Yes, anaphora, they're actually words or phrases. It is the alliteration, our consonant sounds. Anaphoric, yes, we have anaphoric words or phrases, and that's what we've just done. The anaphoric phrase we have is who is to blame. Who is there, who is to blame, who is to look to, who is to turn to in a tough situation like this. So the anaphoric phrase there is who is to. So that's a phrase. So you can have anaphoric words and anaphoric phrases, and they always are at the beginning of a line or a sentence in a speech. Now, today's word of the day, unfortunately my people from Scotland are not watching. They would have loved this one because it is a Scottish word, but it's obsolete now. Thank you very much, Judith. And today's word of the day is disjune. Although it has got nothing to do with June, disjune, and it is a noun. So, but I'll hold up the word disjune so you can see how it is spelled. It is spelled D-I-S-J-U-N-E, disjune. Thank you. Yes, so of course, you always, even your lecturers can attest to the fact. Your lecturer, in fact, my father, your lecturer, can also attest to the fact. So today's word is disjune, D-I-S-J-U-N-E, and it has nothing whatsoever to do with the month of June. And guess what disjune is? Breakfast. So Judith, I know it is morning in Canada. Have you had your disjune? Yes, you are a good student. You have a good year. Judith Orogun says she has. Yeah, you're a good student. So disjune is our word of the day, and it's spelled D-I-S-J-U-N-E, and it means breakfast, and it entered into the English language in the 15th century. It's supposed to have a Scottish origin, but it's no longer used in Scotland, but you can still make use of it. Hey, I remember today Olanrewaju from Glasgow was asking me, so what are we supposed to do with these big words? Expand. Oh, she's just come on now. So I was talking. Hola, you are welcome. Hola. Today's word is disjune. Have you ever heard that word before? Let me hold it up properly. Disjune. Have you heard the word before? Hola. Disjune. D-I-S-J-U-N. It's supposed to have a Scottish background, and it means breakfast. So, Ola, have you had disjune? Judith said she has already had her disjune. And Ola, like I was just saying, you wondered what we should do with the big words. Incorporate them in your language because they are actually in use. For instance, the word phub, P-H-U-B, that we had as our word of the day last week, and which means when you're on your phone or your iPad and you're snubbing people or ignoring people, phub. It sounded funny. But then my sister Elohor said she saw it in an email. It was used in an email. So these words are in use. Expand your vocabulary and your language. Good afternoon, George. George Adebisi is watching from Abuja, and he's a class captain. And our class captain is just coming. Good afternoon, George. You're welcome to the program. Today, I'll just do a quick recap. We've been talking about the difference. Yeah, this June, this June is breakfast, and it's Scottish. Yes, now you didn't know. It's not. No, this June has got nothing to do with June. It is breakfast. Go and check it up. The word of today is this June, and it is breakfast, and it is Scottish, although it's obsolete. But the Scottish people used to use it. So, have you had your this June today, Ola, in Glasgow, which is in Scotland? And this June is a Scottish word, has Scottish origin. Anyway, for those who are you're not a fan of this June, okay, you don't like breakfast. Me, I love this June. No, I cannot do without my this June. I am a this June person. Today, tomorrow, forever, I'm this June. That's why at times I find it difficult fasting. But for those of you who like, good afternoon, this June, yeah, this June is breakfast. Key, how? Please explain. I don't know. That's how I saw it though. It came into English language in the 15th century. We're in 21st century. So imagine how many centuries has come down. 15 to 21st, that's about 6 centuries. So George Adebisi, this June is breakfast. And George Adebisi today will be talking about the difference between anaphora and alliteration. Yesterday we talked about anaphora, which is the repetition of words and phrases at the beginning of each sentence. And someone asked if it was the same meaning as alliteration. Alliteration is the repetition of consonant sounds in a sentence. So whereas anaphora is repetition of Judith, you need to see what they're all doing here now. Repetition of, but Judith, make use of the word and find out what people say. You say, have you had boys come and have your this June? Tell your children, come and have this June, and they are wondering, but we are still in March now. Why are you talking about June? Why don't you make use of it? So George, like I was saying, and for those just coming on, we've been talking about the difference between anaphora and alliteration. Whereas anaphora is the repetition of words or phrases at the beginning of a sentence, alliteration is the repetition of consonant sounds in a sentence. And you know, there's this famous one, Peter Piper picked a piece of pickled pepper. I can't remember that one. But at times when people want to get people to bite their tongue. So that one is alliteration. And I have, she sells seashells down by the seashore. So that is alliteration, the repetition of consonant sounds, not words or phrases. Anaphora is every day, every night, in every way, I am getting better and better. And then the consonant sound, the repetitive word or phrase there is every day. Why you ask your children if they want this June, since you are not a fan of this June. So I hope that today I've been able to impart something to you. You now know the difference between anaphora and alliteration. For those of you who are writers, when you're writing, you should know the difference between alliteration and anaphora. Alliteration is the repetition of consonant sounds, while anaphora is the repetition of words or phrases at the beginning of each sentence. And the classic example of anaphora is Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream. I think he repeats I have a dream at the beginning of 8 consecutive sentences, and that is anaphora. And for those of you who have not had your this June, I would like to encourage you, if you're a this June person like me, to go and have your this June. Once more, please check my Facebook page, look at the words, and then use them in sentences. And if you are watching this broadcast after it's over, and you want to watch other broadcasts, you can go to my YouTube channel. Just type my name, Erumena Amata, and my YouTube channel link will come up, or failing that, go to my Facebook page and click on the link. It's been nice having all of you come on this day. Without you, I wouldn't be a teacher. Thank you so much. Judith Orogun from Ontario, Olanrewaju from Glasgow, George Adebisi from Abuja, Dr. Raphael James from Lagos, a couple of my friends from Lagos. So I have to go back and then find out those of you who have come on. Ego D from Lagos, Dr. Raphael James, Femi Ajibode, Dr. Raphael James, Bukishoni Bare, watching from Abuja. Thank you so much for tuning into Obande Coach Obi. Thank you so much for watching in. Thank you very much. Easy Films Ologe is watching from Lagos here. Good to have you on the show. Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Without you, I couldn't do this. Thank you so much. You've all been good students today. So by tomorrow, you tell me how you made use of the word. Thank you so much. All right. Thank you so much. Okay. Thank you very, very much. I'll see you all tomorrow. Thank you. Okay, Dr. Rafa James says, great. Erimena Amata, doing great things for us to learn from. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for your encouragement. All right. Yes, that's the spelling of alliteration, George. Thank you, Judith. Have a splendid day yourself too. We are going to have the rest of the afternoon. You have a splendid day in Ontario, Canada. And regards to everyone's family. Thank you so much. Bye-bye. Thanks for watching.